Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this Hyper, the Identity Assurance Company's LinkedIn Live. I am Joshua Gonzalez, Product Marketing Manager here at Hyper. And with me today, I have our wonderful engineer, Sean Fawnin. Sean, introduce yourself to all the people. Tell them who you are.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sean Fonin. I'm a server engineer here at Team Adapt. Today, we're just going to be walking through some of the testing features for the Adapt platform.
Woohoo! And for those of you at home or in the office who don't know, Hyper Adapt is our policy risk engine. So it is where our users can set their authentication policies, manage them, and do some really cool things. Some of them, like our policy simulation, we are about to demo right here now, live. So before we get started, though, I want to set the scene, right? Lay it all out there. We've all been there before. You need to update your authentication policies. So you plan to do so maybe like in the middle of the night, so that way they all change over the next day. However, the very next day you wake up and you broke everyone's authentication. So you wake up to hundreds of emails and Slack messages and help desk tickets that your users, your employees, they cannot log into work. Everyone's upset and yelling and screaming at you. We get it. It happens. So our lovely Sean Fawnin here, the man himself, Mr. Adapt, made this feature policy simulation to solve that problem. Right now, you can test policies before you deploy them. So, Sean, please walk us through policy simulation.
Yes. So I have a demo video here. We're going to walk through a couple of pieces. First, it's going to be the policy testing environment that we offer. So the ability to run the policy against a specific user. And then we have a logging only mode as well, which is assigning it to an application. And then from there, we're allowed to see live results without having any effect on the end user, but we can get right into the demo. So with HyperAdapt enabled, we can actually, right from Control Center, it's going to be a tab on the left side. So we can click into that. And this is going to bring you to the Adapt homepage. Everything Adapt related lives here. The risk policies, anything related to signal handlers, signal search, the reports, the risk reports. But for this demo specifically, we'll be working with the policies. I currently don't have this assigned to an application. Just showing creating a policy in the flow of this right here. We have built-in, which is the code that we provide, or you could choose custom as well and make adjustments to the code that we provide. But with the policy already created, we're just going to go back. And clicking into this window, it's just everything, the policy itself related is here. And then we have the test window here. So we click into here. With the user, we can provide a specific time for events that we want to bring in. So on the right side, you can see that now they're all JSON. And on the left is the policy code itself. So as we click evaluate, you can see that the policy is now running against those events that we supplied. So there's no authentication failures. There's nothing in progress right now for authentication for the user. So the policy is successful. Nothing deems the user risky. The allowed authenticators is just the step-up authenticator if a user were to fail policy evaluation. So now we're going to trigger a few sign-in attempts just to show that the policy, as we bring in new events, adjusts and responds to those new events coming in. So I trigger 3 here, and then we go back to the testing environment, and we can now bring in events again, which should include those 3 in progress attempts. And now that we evaluate, the auth failure count is still 0. We didn't necessarily fail them, but you can see that the in progress count is now 3. Why that is important is because this is to prevent push bombing as well. So we care about the in progress attempts. But the policy is still successful. It's under the configured failure limit. So we're going to do this 3 more times just to trigger a policy failure. And we could see after this last attempt, we'll go back. And as we bring in the latest events again for this user, we're going to evaluate the policy again. And now we can see that the policy is failing. So the user, as they're taking actions, we can bring in those events in real time in this environment. For a specific user, a test user, we could see here that the auth failure count is still 0, but the in progress event, auth event count is 6 now. So that is why the policy is triggering failure. And at this point, this is when a user would be blocked on a login attempt. So for this next part of the video, and I'll just pause this really quick. is this is where we have the ability to assign the policy to an application. So every time someone logs in, they're going to run into this policy. And for somebody, a customer or a company that is deploying for the first time, generally you would like to see the results on how that would be operating without necessarily impacting the user immediately. So
Mhm.
what we show here is our logging only enforcement. So we assign this at the beginning of the web flow, and we're not going to enable logging only to begin with. I'm just going to show that without that enabled, as we go back to log in, as we submit these attempts, we're going to have trouble logging in. There's not a push notification that is even sent to the user. This blocks it as soon as the policy evaluates unsuccessfully. We block all attempts that go to the user. This prevents push bombing again.
Nice.
So we go back here and we're going to delete this assignment. And now I just highlight the fact that it's not logging only. We're going to go back here and we're going to assign it now as logging only. So this is just the monitoring setup that you could have for a policy. We click this toggle here at the bottom, and this is what enforces it. And what this means is the policy is going to evaluate. It's going to evaluate in real time against the user events, but the user will have no difference in their end experience. So I submit the attempt, I get the push notification on my phone, and it takes a second here, but it's going to go, it goes through, it's a successful authentication, and I get brought to the hyper landing page for Control Center.
Nice.
And now the cool part about this is as we go to the audit trail for that application, we can actually see that the policy did in fact fail, which is that bold event there. It's logging only specifically. So we could see what the result did, what the message is. But again, you could see the events after that, we have a successful authentication, even though that policy had failed.
Right. It's
And yeah,
awesome. What I love, and like just to recap there for everyone watching is, the first part Sean demonstrated how we can pull in your own users' past events, their past behavior, and test the policies against that to see how it is likely that these policies would affect them. But with the magic of logging only mode that Sean just demonstrated, you can kind of test those policies in real time or future behavior, right? You set them for a user, watch their behavior for a week, see how it affects them or doesn't affect them, and then you can decide if you want to deploy that policy or how you want to deploy that policy from there, which is amazing. Like I really do love that feature. Again, being able to test your policies before you break everyone's authentication is so much needed. So
always the
Sean, do you
preferred
have
way.
any do you have any thoughts or big wisdom that you have where you've seen something like this be successful and users really love or anything like that?
Yeah, so we actually, for the development of the policies with the original development, it's nice to have the testing environment. You could bring in ad hoc events for specific windows and test all this different logic. But specifically when we go to, we have deployments to customers and they have large user bases, it's nice to be able to use logging only because it allows us in real time to see how the users are interacting with it, how the policy is triggering in which ways. Logging only allows you to find those edge cases that you might not have seen, especially with the custom logic that you can implement.
Right.
So I think it's incredibly useful feature for the initial deployment phase, especially. Generally, once these are once they're developed and they're applied and it's running
Yeah.
well, they continually run well. But
Yeah. Yeah.
that first part, yeah, is the hardest. And I would also like to say, I just want to shout out Team Adapt.
Woohoo.
Adolfo, Sachin, and Joe. We've had a great year so far and really looking forward to what comes next for us.
Yes, go team HyperAdapt, our wonderful engineers working on HyperAdapt. We love them so much. Thank you so, so much, Sean, for working on this, for demoing it for everyone, for being here. I drug you on camera live to be with me. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Joshua.
much. And thank you to everyone watching. I see that we wrote a blog with this with a demo video for you to see. It's in the comment section. Our wonderful Alex Poole put that in the comment section. So please be sure to check that out. Subscribe to our newsletter for any more information. Stay up to date with us here on LinkedIn, and we will catch you in the next LinkedIn Live. Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thank
Bye.